Okay, so we're continuing in Hilchos Talmud Torah Perek Vav about nidui. Okay, and yesterday we went over nidui for chachamim, for kavod chachamim, right? So basically, we're not going to reread them, but if you're mavazeh a chacham, so not only do you lose your chelak olam haba, but you know, let me clarify this, right? So even though we said this last time, I just didn't say it explicitly. In Hilchos Tshuva, he says if you're ragil levazos es hatamid chachamim. Here he says alfa pi shehamavaze es chachamim ein lo chelak olam haba. I'm pretty sure, given Hilchos Tshuva is the primary one, right? So in other words, it's not like every bizui tamid chachamim is going to be make you lose your chelak olam haba, right? It's that if you're ragil to it, nevertheless, the penalties do apply, meaning even if you do it b'dvarim with words, then you get nidui, which is social ostracism, which we haven't defined and won't define until next week. All right, if we get there, presumably we will. And you get a knas of what would today be equivalent to like $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000. A lot of money, a lot of crypto. All right, and this also applies if you do it if you're mavazeh the Talmid Chacham after his death, okay, and you only get released if you do tshuva and if he is maratza, if you're maratza him or he's maratza you, however you want to say that, and then we talked about who has to obey whose niduyim. So the talmidim of a rav have to obey all of the rav's niduis, but the rav doesn't have to obey theirs. And a chacham can be menadeh for his own kavod, right? It's not just based in, and then if it is, and then we had all the different directions of the nidui. Okay, fine. Okay, then we said in Yodalad. So this is what we read at the very end last time. במדבר amurim. So when is this referring to in terms of what? Right. When right. Yeah. All right. So hold on, let me just fill in. Okay, so we're on Halacha Yod Daled 1. I don't know if I gave you the right page. When are we talking about? So this is if someone ostracized him because he degraded Talmid Chachamim. Oh, you know what? I got to mention something here also. Sorry, I didn't say this. This just occurred to me, and maybe this goes without saying. Do you realize nidui is not a mitzvah aseh or los aseh? Right? Yeah. In other words, even though the whole last chapter and a half of Hilchos Talmud Torah talks about nidui, there is no mitzvah that involves nidui. All right. What mitzvah does this fall under? Yeah.
This part of the. You have to listen to whatever the court says no matter what.
No, it's not, right? Because then you would put it in Hilchos Shoftim, right, or Hilchos Mamrim. Kavod Torah, right? Yeah. In other words, you are correct, Yosef, in that the authority of based in does play a role here, but the classification is he's putting under Kavod Torah, which is weird because we're about to go out of Kavod Torah into other things. Okay, so just to note that, because I was thinking to myself like, oh, we didn't do the sefer mitzvos on this, and I realized there's not going to be a sefer mitzvos on this because it's not a mitzvah. Yeah. So he says about me. So all of everything we said earlier is if you put someone in nidui because he degraded Talmid Chachamim. Aval mishin niduhu al shar dvarim shechayavim lehem nidui. But if someone does something that they're liable for nidui for in other areas, afilu nidahu katan should be Israel. Even if a low-level Jew, not a kid, a low-level Jew. Oh, look at the R Makbili. Katan pakas b'malak kagon shifcha. Like even a maidservant, okay, if she puts you in nidui, chayav hanasi v'chol Yisrael linhog bo nidui. Everyone has to obey, has to follow the ban. Ad sheyachzor b'teshuva midavar sheniduhu b'shvilo yatiru lo, until he does tshuva from the thing that he got ostracized for, and they matir him. Yeah, Yosef.
Like as an illness, is that just like is there any things like doing the Torah, or just part of the you have to listen to the boards?
Say again.
Like nidui as an onesh, can you say anything in Torah? Just part of you have to.
I don't even know if I would characterize it as an onesh. Would you characterize it as an onesh? I mean, it certainly is not fun, right? But it's not like it seems to be a tool, right? It's a tool used to prompt teshuvah. but I don't know if it's an ownership. And it's weird. The other reason I don't want it's like quarantine. Yeah. What? No, because an ownish, I think there's an idea of standardization in ownshin from a system, and even though there's going to be a definition of what nidui is, it sounds like anyone could just put people in nidui on their own for one of these reasons.
Anyone? What do you mean anyone?
He just said a shifcha, a maidservant, to put someone in nidui, and then everyone has to obey it.
Like a what is it called? Citizen's arrest?
Yeah, it's like a citizen's arrest. That's actually a good analogy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see what these things are, though. Okay. All right, here's the list. Okay, this is what we're spending the day on. All right, the list of nidui stuff. A person you can be menada somebody for 24 things. Bein ish, bein isha. Okay, men or women. The Elohim, here they are. One, hamavaza es hachacham, someone who degrades a chacham, vafilu la'achar mosa. So that's what we've already talked about. Yeah, okay, and that one you get the fine for, right? $9,000. Two, hamavaza shliach beistin, someone who is mavaza, an agent of beistin. Okay, so that's interesting. So we're going to do the Makbili on each one as we read it. Shliach beistin hamazmin es nitbaladin. So a guy comes to summons you to court from the beistin, right? And if you mavaza that guy, so he says mitzvah lishma alo, it's a mitzvah to listen to him. So if you degrade him, like scram, right? Boom, nidui. Yeah.
Can anyone be a shliach, or is it usually like it's on the
That's a good question. Let's look at this Hilchos Sanhedrin 25:5. I'll look at it.
If it's only Talmud Chacham, then I wonder why would they need to tell us?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. So I would think it's anybody. I'm just going to look this up on here. 25. What did I just say? 25. 5. Okay. Yeah. Asur linhob kalus rosh b'shliach beistin. Could I do a side point? So Chaim Zifkin was preparing for Shir this morning, and he said he was looking for something in Hilchos Mamrim, and said, I can't remember if it's in Sefer Mishpatim or Sefer Shoftim. Okay, and I gave him a good rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is it's always in Sefer Shoftim. Okay, and the reason why is because Mishpatim is I don't know if I've ever cracked Sefer Mishpatim, but the definitions of the books say as follows. So Mishpatim is echol bo mitzvos shebein adam l'chavero b'shar hadinim she'ein b'tchilasan hezek gon shomrim ubalei chovos v'tainos ukfiros. So it is interpersonal laws in monetary matters that don't involve damages, like guardianship and people who owe money and like lawsuits and denials of lawsuits. So what we call I guess tort law, I don't know how much tort law extends, whereas Sefer Shoftim is Echlobo mitzvos shehim mesourin l'Snehedrin. These are all the mitzvos that are given over to the Sanhedrin. Mitzvos based in like capital punishment, kabbalas edus, receiving witnesses, v'din hamelach u'milchamosav, and the king and his wars, and then also Avelus gets in there, and then rebels gets in there. So chances are, if you're looking for any law, it's probably going to be in Shoftim, unless you happen to be doing a sugya that's like deep into like one of the areas of Choshen Mishpat, in which case it'd be in Mishpatim. Yeah.
There's just a question. Like, are those halachos are more the suggested default decisions for these cases? And I know for law finances, it's like there's sort of the default just a thing, like law halachos, but you can just sort of do whatever you want.
Honestly, I know so little about Mishpatim that I don't even have an answer for that question.
And I think like say,
we're not familiar with
right. I mean, Shomrim stuff is definitely halakha.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were Shomer. You have a Shomer Chinam who could take upon himself honest, like if you made a contract like that, and Shomer Chinam who will cover for honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, right. Like let's just look at the categories here, right? So Hilchos Chirus is hiring people.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely gonna be actual halachos in there. She'elav upikadon, borrowing objects and being entrusted with objects. That has to do with actual halakha stuff. Also, malve velove, lending money and borrowing money. There's definitely halachos in there. I don't know how much is dependent on you. Tony Vinitan making claims in based in. That might be more the type of thing you're talking about. And then nachalos is inheritances. That's definitely also like originally halachically defined thing. Yeah.
So I think for a lot of these things, like if all the people involved want to do something different.
Oh yeah, you could always do pshara. You can always do a settle out of court.
Yeah, that's what I meant by suggestion. That as in like if everyone involved wants to do something different.
But that's an alternative to the law. The law itself. You can do the by damages also, yeah. But right, but the key point though, right? The key point is that is not the law. That is you're choosing to not make recourse to the law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops, I closed the thing. Okay. What were we looking at just now? Oh, hold on a second. I just closed it. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So about shliach Sanhedrin, right? 25:5 is. And then Chizkiah's question about who can be this person. So asur linhog kalos rosh b'shliach based in. It's asur to behave frivolously, b'shliach based in, like giving him bunny ears. V'hari hashliach ne'eman kishnayim le'inyan hanidui. Oh, interesting. A shliach is believed like two witnesses in regards to nidui. Okay, so he carries a little bit more authority. Sh'im amar ploni hiklani o hakel hadayan o lo ratza lavo ladin. Mishamtin oso al piv. So let's say I'm the shliach basin and I go bring the guy to court, and then he insults me. Okay. And if I go to the court and I testify, this guy behaved frivolously with me, or he behaved frivolously with the dayan, or he didn't want to come to court. So then we put him in nidui based on my testimony. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I was thinking that, but then I realized that it sounds so. I, as a shliach, could definitely put him in nidui. Sounds like he's describing the beis din putting him into nidui, right? Because mishamtin oso al piv. Not that he doesn't say minade oso. Yeah. Here's my guess, and I don't know enough about nidui to say this. It sounds like the court's nidui is going to be a stronger nidui than an individual. You know? You're right. We did say that. Yeah. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see if there's a nafkamina, but definitely, I think my reading is right. That the beis din is putting him into nidui based on the testimony of the shliach. Okay. Yeah, is because you can do it. He can do it anyway, right? Yeah, I hear that. We don't write for him at pischa, which I don't know what that is, until two people come to him and testify about him that he refused to come. Oh, okay. Wait, what? And the shliach beis din is not liable about saying these things on account of lashon hara. Does that mean that like? Yeah. Well, what's the havamina? Yeah. What is the havamina? Meaning, are you understanding this the same way that I am? Let's say I go and I say, oh, this guy refused to come to din. That's not lashon hara. Is that what he's saying? Yeah.
Or it could be that if you're there. I think there's a look that if you're the only witness to something.
That's the you're waiting for. Okay. Yeah. Oh, let me just check something.
Can you repeat what that said?
Yeah. That the way he said it is ein shliach beis din chayav. The agent of beis din is not liable amiras devarim elu in saying these things mishum lashon hara on account of lashon hara. I just want to see.
What are these things?
So we're assuming it's these things of saying like so and so refused to come to court, so and so made fun of the dayan. I just want to see something. I think the Chabad telling on him exactly. Yeah. The Chabad.org translation of the Mishnah Torah doesn't yet have footnotes for all of the books. I just want to see. I can
kind of see that. Why they would say that.
Well, I think, Chaim, what were you thinking when you said it should be obvious? Or you indicated that of course it's not. Yeah. Right. If you testify beis din that someone murdered someone, we don't say, oh, lashon hara, right? It's part of the court proceedings. Yeah, right. I just want to see something here. Let me pause this for a second. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's the full set. I feel like it's not.
I don't think I've ever seen the full set like that.
I have. It's pretty big. That's why I'm thinking that that's not the full set. Yeah. Oh, apparently, the guy who translated this, Rabbi Eliyahu Tauger, is a tremendous anav. That's what people have told me. That he is very, very open to pointing out like mistakes and stuff like that, and like wants to hear that kind of thing. So just felt I'd mention that. Okay. So it says we do not, however, have an agent of the court is not liable for relating unfavorable gossip for telling the court about these matters. I.e. negative statements the litigant made against him or against the judges. Okay. Well, I guess because there is hearsay involved. I mean, that sounds like the way that he's taking it, meaning, in other words, like, see, the first case that we mentioned is I, as the Shliach Beis Din, go to you, the person I'm summoning to court, and then you make fun of me. That is not gossip. But is he saying if he's relying on reports from other people?
I thought he was saying, so you don't go in and say this guy made fun of me, and that the reason you wouldn't do that is because, sure, from the perspective of the
court,
the guy who's making fun of him, the guy being summoned, he needs to treat him with respect. But it's sort of like I guess it's a key on him, but from the perspective of the guy being made fun of, the shliach, it's not really for him to take personally because his status comes from being like an extension of the court, not he himself. So it's almost like, yeah, that guy shouldn't do it, but you also shouldn't like take advantage of this to go complain that someone made fun of you. Is, it's not really related to what your real job is.
Right. I hear the reasoning of what you're saying. I guess my assumption though is that anything involved in court proceedings is automatically not lashon hara, because then you couldn't really have a court scenario. Like if I,
these are personal things, they're not related to the case or whatever. Like it's like this is a personal thing that isn't really. I mean, you could still testify on other things.
I'm not something that no one can act on. I think that I'm not harming.
Right. That's part of it. You think that's part of his job?
Yeah.
I would think, but is it for sure that he can't report that either?
Well, we're saying
that's fine that he can report that.
Right.
That's not what they're prohibiting from him saying.
Well, they're
only lashon hara stuff that's like.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying these things, one of which is this guy refused to come to court. That is not going to make him liable for lashon hara. Right.
So you can say it.
So you can say it, right. But I'm saying, what's the havmina? Like, of course he could say it.
Because there's other things you shouldn't say, like he made fun of me also.
No, also
right.
Is he?
Yeah. Yes.
Also, just as I was saying before, isn't there also where if you're the only witness, you're not allowed to testify?
There are cases like that, except where echad is ne'eman.
Oh, he's allowed to, but he's not chayav. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He can be doche on his own personal cover.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good question. Yeah.
I was more thinking because it seems like this is a case where echad is not ne'eman, because it literally says that he's like shnayim. So therefore, this is a case where echad is not ne'eman. He just happens to have the authority of 280 here. So therefore, maybe you think that the Hilchos Lashon Hara apply to him as he's still one person.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when the Rambam uses this lashon and when he doesn't. I mean, I know the usual lashon we use is echad ne'eman. B'yisurin, let's say, right? Yeah, I'm not sure. But going back to what Chizkiah was saying, I mean, so you're saying that since this guy could just like mochel being made fun of or whatever, then there's no necessity for him to say it. Right. And the fact that he's choosing to say it anyway, you might think that that's lashon hara because he didn't have to say it. Right. Interesting. I hear that.
And on the other hand, it shows that he has an obligation to say the things that are related specifically to the court case, like he didn't show up because that they're it's emphasizing that he has to say them. Like he can't be like doche on that. Like it's like, but to differentiate like what he can be doche on.
It seems like him bad mouthing often in that same vein.
He doesn't have to report the guy.
I'm not either.
Huh? No, he does. He does have to. Doesn't it? Because it's like now.
That's also important. I don't really think you have to do that.
Yeah, I think they should all be in the same category. Either he has to report all of them or none of them.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Like I don't see a differentiation between the two.
between him not coming to showing up at court.
And mocking the court.
Because if you because I guess it's like you don't have to. It doesn't change. I guess it doesn't affect the court itself that it was mocked. It doesn't affect the court if the guy doesn't show up to the case. That's what we're trying to do.
Right. That's true.
I think the reason that you might have mentioned before, I think that I do not is because he's acting as an and you're undermining the whole intention by not
Right. Yeah.
And when you're undermining the whole intention by not showing up.
Right. That's true.
But you undermining it is really a problem. Like it's more of a problem to you than it is to.
No, so I kind of forgot that we call him shliach based in. I think Chaim's right. Is that he is representing based in, like it's not a personal matter.
Sure, no, I
right,
understand. It's like he's mocking the court.
Right.
But so what? Like it's not the court itself isn't being hurt by that. It's like a problem. It's a problem. It's an issue for him because it's a bad thing for him to do.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think
it's like does he have to? Right.
And isn't the court is affected if people are mocking it? I mean, if people are not coming,
if other people know that they're being mocked, if it's like a public mocking, then sure. But if it's like between these two guys, it's only the person who's aware that the mocking is happening besides the mocker, is the shliach. Then it's like, okay, you're making an unnecessary, like the insult doesn't have to get to the court. You can in this moment step out of your role as a shliach to prevent from the mockery getting to the court. You can actually protect the court.
But it already has gotten to the court because you are the representative.
But I'm saying that's why you can choose in that moment to step out of that. It's like I'm shielding. I don't have to, like, if I could somehow, disconnect my hand for a moment, if I got bit by a snake, I would, so that it doesn't, reach the rest of my body. Like the poison. So like if he can do that in that moment.
But I think though saying he is a representative means it is affecting the court. He is mocking the court. Meaning, I know you're talking about like taking it back and telling the actual judges.
What happened.
No, but I'm saying like he is a functional member of the court right now.
But
like
it's almost like they're saying but he doesn't have to be in that moment. He's not hired to continue playing that role. For that moment,
I don't know.
Change the status of not being.
I don't think that's how. Yeah, I don't think that's how shliach of the court works. I mean, if you, the court must work. I mean, the court works.
Like, why relay that news?
Well, not necessarily in that he's not. Not as real in that, but rather it's real, and no one knows about it, right? And you could have a problem in an often part is, what thing you hear from an author, you're not going to tell someone that isn't what you're talking about, right?
Right.
That's another issue.
Let me think about it for a second.
Saying because it contradicts his other issue on the personal level of. I
mean, would you say? Okay, this is a weird example, but would you say that if a police officer catches someone breaking the law, right? And then they like make puppy dog eyes at the police officer, and he says, "Okay, well, I'm just going to ignore this." Would you say that is a person interfering with
says, I'm gonna ignore
the police officer?
He's going to ignore that the guy's doing the thing, or that the guy's the crime, or the puppy dog eyes.
He ignores the crime.
Okay.
Right? Would you say that this person has interfered with the justice system?
In this case, yes.
Yeah.
If there is an actual impact other than.
But no one knows about it. No, like that's what the guy's gonna say. Hey, officer, no one has to know about it. And that's what I'm saying is that no, insofar as I am an agent of the law, and I know about it, it is impacting the system.
But that's a different crime.
So that's why I don't think that's how we view this based in.
To do the thing in and of itself, say like, hey, like also can you hide that? That in and of itself doesn't have to be, okay. So like any other situation where it's like he's damaging property or he's doing something that actually impacts.
This is where we differ. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying that the affront to the judge via his shliach is he is harming the justice system through that.
But how? How is he harming?
Because he is saying, I don't take the court seriously.
But how is that harming?
Because in order for courts to function, they need to be taken seriously. Right.
But what I'm saying is that's already achieved. The result dealing with that problem is achieved by just telling him he didn't show up. In and of itself, it's like, oh, he's not taking us seriously. He doesn't need to be told, oh, and know how he did it. Nobody also said along while he showed that he doesn't like. That's an unnecessary.
No, because here's the thing. Let's say the guy comes to court and mocks the judge.
Right, and now it's a public thing. And
No. The guy. Let's say the guy says, "Okay, I'll come with you. I'll go to your stupid judge." That is an affront to the court. He is in order for justice systems to work. Like this is why. Let's say the only example I can think of is like in puppet governments, where like it's known that all of the judges are just like cronies. People just don't take them seriously, and then the courts can't function. So any kavod, any impingement on the kavod of the court, even if it's private, one individual not taking the court seriously is a damaging of the integrity of the court. Because in order for the court to work, every individual has to take them seriously. Yeah. Okay.
I think the distinction between regular invented and what's in the saying not coming, right? Versus him saying, oh, that's not the point. Because the other time, like the thing that is in it had nothing to do with love and horror, right? I mean, I testified that quoting point or quoting, damage property.
Yeah.
That's how I'm like, there's no mention of anyone lying.
Right. And that would be lashon hara, right? If he just went and told the court, hey, by the way, when I went to this guy, he was putting on his tefillin wrong, right? That would be lashon hara.
Right. But I'm saying that in these particular situations, like when you're dealing with other halachas in English, right? When you're in English, they're not over lashon hara. We're not talking about like lashon hara itself, right? I mean, the guy said about the point is lashon hara, and now you're continuing that, like telling it in the point, but it's the other English, English, you're not like you don't bring English for lashon hara normally. I mean, I think that's how
that's how I mean, right?
The issue is
right
dealing with lashon hara,
right? Yeah.
And normally you don't take in the court, no one's talking about it,
right?
And there is a problem of repeating lashon hara,
yeah,
right? In this situation, even though no matter how even though it's in a functional point, since it was lashon hara, you shouldn't repeat it, right? And the mas'ala is no, because it undermines the point in the court.
Okay, right. Right. Okay, I hear that distinction. I know the phrase. I have no idea what this means. Do anyone know what contempt of the court means? I only know it from movies. What is the actual like isser of like not isser, but in American law? Anyone know?
I think it's pretty similar. I think it's that, but I think it still has to be a public thing. Like it has to be like seen. Right.
I mean, the details might differ, but let's see. Yeah, it says contempt of court, often referred to simply as contempt, is the offense of being disobedient or disrespectful toward a court of law and its officers in the form of behavior that opposes or defies the authority, justice, and dignity of the court. A similar attitude towards a legislative body is termed contempt of parliament, et cetera, et cetera. Contemnor, that's a new word. Yeah.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Would that be like if there's a warrant out for your arrest, which means that you're clearly avoiding arrest,
right?
When they bring you in, are you going to also be charged on top of it for contempt, or is it there's only contempt when the course is being carried out? Now, once you're in this court setting and you behave a certain way, that's contempt. If you behave inappropriately.
If you behave inappropriately, even when before you arrive there, then that would still be in this category.
So then every single criminal is guilty of contempt of the court.
No, because if the criminal says, I'll come peacefully,
Okay, but I guess what I'm saying is when they're chasing him in the car chase, obviously they're taking him to court and he's resisting that.
Right. Oh, so that would be this category. That would be refusing to come. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He doesn't have to like say I'm refusing to come. Yeah. Right. But if they show up at the door and they say you have to come to court and he says okay, and he comes to court, then there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is an interesting case. Yeah. I'm curious to see in American law how far it goes, but we're not going to look into that now. I was just going to look at the Arach HaShulchan just really quickly and see if he said, you don't have to write this down quite yet. I just want to see if he based in I'm gonna read this just see if it helps at all. So this is Arach HaShulchan Choshen Mishpat Ches Vav. Gam b'shliach beistin asur linhog kalos rosh. It's also asur to behave frivolously with the shliach beistin of hamavaza oso of hamatzaro. Interesting. If you degrade him or you afflict him, yesh reshus lebeistin lekonso. Yeah. Chesvav. Yeah. Then the beistin can fine him k'fi re'usei nehem according to their what they see fit. B'shliach nemad kishnaim lahayid shebizu oso l'inyan sheyinadu oso. And the shliach is allowed to, testify regarding something that they would put him in nidui for. But to strike him or to fine him for money, he's not believed below edim, without edim. Shliach based in yachol lahagi, the based in mashe ana ha-baldin. Afshuhu ana divrei bizui. The shliach is allowed to tell the beis din what the bal din answered, even if he answered divrei bizui. V'im b'zeh mishum lashon hara. Rabbi Hussein Zal lamdu zeh mi parshas Korach. Okay, Chazal learned this from parshas Korach. Midiksiv ha'eni ha'anashim ahem tenaker lo na'aleh. From what is written, the eyes of these men you will gouge out, and we will not ascend. Who said that? And I recognize the phrase, but I forgot who said it. Lo na'aleh. Come on.
Is it
It sounds like something to say, right? Torah. Dasan and Aviram. Yeah, you're right. Good call. Vayishlach Moshe likro l'dasan v'laviram b'nei Eliyav yomru lo na'aleh. So Moshe summoned Dasan and Aviram b'nei Eliyav, and they said, "We will not come." Hama'at helisan me'eretz zavas chalav v'davash lahamisin b'midbar. Like is it hama'at? I don't know how to translate hama'at here. Let's see here. I'm just going to read the English. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up from a land of flowing milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, but you must also make yourself a prince over us? Will you put out the eyes of those men? We won't come up. Okay, so they refuse to come to the court of Moshe, so to speak. So let's see what the Arach HaShulchan goes on to say. Umistama higidze shlucho shel Moshe Rabbeinu leMoshe Rabbeinu. So presumably the shliach of Moshe Rabbeinu told this to Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, that's a good assumption. And if there were an isser in the thing, then Moshe wouldn't have accepted his words. And he wouldn't have written in the Torah. That's funny, limud. It's clear God wouldn't have told him to write something that's illegal. And you can't say that the shliach didn't tell Moshe, but rather God revealed it to him, like the rest of the Torah. That's what I would have said. Because God does not reveal. I assume dilatorin is like deleterious information, like negative information. But rather the shliach told him, and God commanded him to write it in the Torah. You can learn from here. There's no lashon hara. Okay, that's a separate point. Yeah.
I guess what about the Gemara, which somehow we possibly even can't do bris milah? because there's a part of the part in the Torah where it's for this bris milah.
Right.
I was just saying, by the same logic, you'd also say a woman could do bris milah.
I mean, I'm not sure if I follow your reasoning.
Because we're saying that all the din is going to be like all the agos in the stories, and shouldn't the din also by bris milah be like the stories in the Torah?
I don't think he's saying that. I don't think he's saying that anything that you see accounted in the Torah has to be legal, right? He's saying that yeah. I feel like there's a distinction. Hold on. Yeah, let me go back. Oops. Where was it here? Lo higid lo dvarim ela hakadosh baruch hu gila lo. Sorry. Il v'lo haya kosev b'torah depshita shekadosh baruch hu lo mitzvah lo lichtov davar she'eno al pi din. Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's strange. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's what I would say. Okay, so let's go on to the list again. So mavazer shliach beistin. Okay, so that we got 2 from the Makbili. Yeah. Okay, 3. Hakor lechaver eved. Call your friend, a fellow, an eved. Okay, so why? So Makbili says Hakor lechaver eved shematil pagam biyichuso v'safik b'kashus banav. Right. So you are. Yeah, attributing. They took that really seriously, right? If you insinuate that someone is an eved and you call into question their yichus, yeah, it's interesting.
It's more a question of calling. More a problem of calling
Well, I think the reason why they care about it so much is because it affects the yichus, right? Like we don't just say this for any lashon hara, right? Yeah.
How does an eved affect the yichus?
Because, well, yeah, doesn't an eved not have? Eved does not have family somehow, right? Isn't there a thing with like avadim and?
Well, hold on.
I don't know. Let me check. Hold on, just 1 second here. Kinyan. Not in the mishpatim, because nothing's in mishpatim. Kinyan in Hilchos Avadim. Let me just see if this is a thing. Yichus. Mishpacha. Yes. I don't know where it is. Where did I read that? Yeah, we did see that, but I don't think this is the case. Yeah, let me look at Pagan. Nope, that's it. All right, yeah, I have footnotes. What was with that look?
Didn't let me get it
the case we're dealing with is we got to the third item of you can put someone in nidui if someone who calls another person an eved.
Like you shouldn't.
Yeah, and you put in nidui for that.
Even if they're an eved.
If they are an eved, then that's fine. But and the reason why, I know what I'm looking at. I mean, I know I'm looking at the wrong thing now. This one will be online. Calling an eved. We're saying because it's going to make a it's going to call into question their yichus, their family, like their lineage, and we're trying to figure out what that means.
Like that maybe they were cannot.
Yeah, so that's what Chaim was theorizing.
I don't know how that.
Person who calls a colleague a slave. See קידושין 28a. Let's do that.
Oh, we can't. We're not there yet. So we have to hold on.
No spoilers. Yeah. Okay. קידושין 28a. קידושין 28a. Okay. Eved. Okay. Hahu shemuti mishtaminan le detanya hakore halachaver eved yehi benidui. If you call him a mamzer sofek as harbayim, then you get whiplashes. Rasha yored imo l'chayav. I don't know what that means. Let's look at Rashi. Eved, Rashi. Hakor l'chaver eved kanani. Yeah, if you call him an eved kanani. Okay, so that actually is affecting the Hilchos, right? Because then you're calling into question whether he's even Jewish, right? Yeah. All right, that makes sense. Yeah. So my question though is like this: is if this, how seriously do we take this? Like, if you just like jokingly like call someone like let's say you have like a guy who's like very, very obedient to like his girlfriend, and they say, "Oh, you're her slave," you know, like. Are we talking about that, or are we saying when you make an allegation that this person is an eved?
I think obviously it's the idea is that you don't want to cast down on his lineage.
Yeah,
you first have to
I would
be
think
able to think that what you're doing is actually casting.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there has to be a context to this. Yeah.
There's some allegation, which allegation is loosely really the feel I often have, which is that probably every Jew has a mamzer ancestor based off statistics, because if you have because the child of a mamzer is a mamzer. Right,
but there's also the halachic reality that once the mamzer becomes forgotten, then it goes away.
Yeah. But I'm saying, so like if we're saying that being you'll probably send for a mamzer, then like what about that?
Nah, because you're saying a probable thing.
Yeah.
Like you're almost certainly, almost certainly send for a mamzer.
Well, if you said that about a particular person, then yeah, you would. Then I think you would be.
And usually, your example, because it's based off of this idea that almost everybody is, then you're not really making a specific personal statement anymore.
What about specifically, Evan? That's what we've read so far. I don't know if he's going to say moms are related. Oh yeah, it seems from that Gemara. Then yeah, it's just Evan. Right, but then but then you get Malchus. Then you get Malchus. There's a penalty for that also, right? Yeah. Let's look at Rashi. Yehim nidui hayumanadi nasoshem mizalzel b'Yisrael kol kach afhim yizalzelu bo. That's weird. That we put him in nidui because he was mizalzel Yisrael so much, even they will be mizalzel him. I guess because he's in nidui. And then with right. So it sounds like, I mean, with the mamzer, it's even worse, right? Whiplashes, I assume, lashes are worse than nidui, because you're actually like hitting the guy. What was I going to say? Statistically, Eved. Oh yeah, I was going to say it has to be that you're literally calling him an Eved, because otherwise we'd all be in nidui from Pesach. You know, we were all slaves in Egypt. Damn, everyone's in nidui. You know, like it has to actually be like a real accusation. Okay, 4. Hamazalzel b'davar echad midivrei sofrim, ve'in tzarich lomar b'divrei Torah. Okay, someone who mocks anything that's rabbinic, and needless to say, anything that's divrei Torah. Yeah, I know many people who who mock the rabbanans. Right? That's an interesting thing. Okay, 5. Mi sheshalchu lo beistin. That's interesting. If Basin summons for him and they set a time and he doesn't come. Okay, so that's funny. That's a more specific thing than the shliach case. Yeah, right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the order. Yeah, I guess we should be conscious of the order here. 6. Mishalo kibel alav din. Someone who does not accept the din. Okay, that makes sense. Menadin oso achitain. So then we ostracize him until he gives. 7. Mishish bershuso davar hamazik. Someone who has in his domain a harmful thing. Could go in kelevra, like a rabid dog. Osulam ra'ua, or a shaky ladder. Menadin oso achiasir hazeko. We ostracize him until he removes the damage. Yeah, right. So public safety hazard, right?
I was thinking ladder.
Yeah, it's more for that guy, right? But I guess anyone could use it. Yeah. I didn't read these things. Shishlach lo beistin umshalim gam es sachar hasofer shekasav es hamidui. That's funny. When Beistin summons you, then and you don't come, not only do we put you in nidui, but we also fine you the amount that the sofer to charge the sofer for writing the nidui. I didn't know you had to write a nidui. Yeah, to write a nidui. Yeah, I thought it was a verbal thing.
Very expensive.
Yeah, I guess they have to document it maybe, but I don't know. Do they post it up on the on Reddit? Yeah, right. Ad shitin mamon shechayev oso. Okay, until he gives the money. He's obligated for v'im lo nasan macharifin es ha'unsho. Okay, fine. Kelev ra, kelev achzar. Oh, a cruel dog, not even a rabid dog. Cruel dog. Asru chachamim legadel ha-kelev ela im hayakashur b'shal shalas. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that the leash law was halacha. The chachamim ushered you to raise a dog unless it's on a leash. I hate people who don't use leashes for their dogs. Like, I don't hate the people. I hate the fact that they don't use leashes for their dogs.
But once it's raised, then it no longer.
Let's look this up. Nizke Mamon 5:9.
Also, all of these still sound like onish.
Well, they are onish in the sense that like you're suffering a consequence of your actions, yeah. Right? If that's how you have some weird freakish definition of onish like that. No, but I think they're more of methods of enforcing compliance. It sounds like, because we don't do this for all like halacha. Yeah, but this is gonna be the question. Like, what do all these things have in common? What did I just say?
I guess that's also part of what I thought. I mean, maybe it may not be the unique definition of onish is that's all it's for, but I felt like that is an aspect.
Yeah,
of onish.
It definitely has an onish type quality. Okay, 5 tests. Okay, so it says v'chein. No, wait. This came on. Am I on the right thing? This came on 5 tests. I don't see anything about a dog. Oh, is I in the wrong place? Weird.
Wait, what?
They have, I don't know what's going on here. Bold, parentheses, and brackets. Okay, I don't know. V'chein asru chachamim legadel chazirim b'chol makom. Chazal prohibited you to raise pigs in all places. Did we see that the asru chachamim is the lashon that doesn't actually mean isser? Do you remember what the lashon was? Well, I know we could look it up though, right? This was in the or tzivu chachamim. Tzivu chachamim, I think, is the one that is not an actual isser. That's by the tzivu chachamim shelo l'lamed es bito Torah.
Right.
Yeah. So asru chachamim though sounds like halacha. Asru chachamim legado chazir b'chol makom. So you can't raise pigs. Okay, I didn't know that. V'lo es hakelev. Hold on just 1 second here.
Shulchan talks about this kind of.
Yeah.
Like.
I was going to ask Yosef. But, I
don't know.
Really, yeah. What?
It's like to breed them, like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know what legadel is. V'lo es hakelev el im kein hayakasher b'shal shelas. You cannot raise a dog unless it's on a leash. V'al megadel hu klavim be'ir hasmucha l'sefer. L'safar probably, right? I don't know. You can raise dogs in a city close to a like a barber. Yom kosher u'v'layla matiro. Yeah. L'gvul. Oh, okay, weird. That's close to the borders. Okay, I guess, and he says that in the day you tie it up and in the night you let it run free, I guess because it's out of the borders. Chachamim say, cursed is the one who raises dogs and pigs. Okay, so this is a danger issue. So that might be the thing. I mean, I don't know what kinds of pigs they raised back then, but like there are definitely like the feral hogs, right? Was a species that was brought in for by human beings, and like those are like deadly, right? I mean, so I don't know what kind of pigs we're talking about.
All hogs inherently become feral.
Oh yeah,
within like a week.
Oh really?
Leave them out. If you take a domesticated pig,
yeah.
This is a problem in Texas, actually.
Yeah.
It's a horrible problem, so much so that they hire people
to kill them, right?
And they get on helicopters.
Yeah, and they breed really fast, right? Yeah. You could pay to have like having shooting sessions.
I always wanted to have that job.
Yeah,
for the good of the environment.
Right, but I feel like it would do things to you, though. Yeah.
A really good shot.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so that's a public hazard. Okay, fine. 8, hamocher karka shelo legoy. Wow, someone who sells his land to a non-Jew. Menadin oso ad sheyikabu alav kol ones shiyavu min hagoy Yisrael chavero bal hametzar. Okay, this I would think this is like back then, but let's see. We put him in nidui until he accepts upon himself kol ones shiyavu min hagoy. How is it using the word ones here? Any onus that comes from the goy to Yisrael.
Wait, so what is this correcting? How is this getting if you already sold the property, what are you getting into?
Well, it's a corrective manner and a deterrent, right? I mean, I get
for future people.
Right. I guess so. Like if you know that this is
that really sounds like.
Yeah, I know it does sound like that. Yeah. But the reason why I'm doubling down on this is because we don't call everything an onus. Like a knas is not an onus. Knas is a monetary penalty, right? It's deterrent, and it also but it's not like we differentiate between an onus that's like a fixed onus from the court, that you do this and you get malchus versus a court imposed fine. Maybe that's just in the vernacular. I don't know. Let's just see this case. A person who sells land to a Gentile is placed under a ban until he accepts responsibility for damages which the Gentile may cause his Jewish neighbor. Yeah. Okay, fine.
There is a compliance thing.
Yeah.
It's not like there's nothing he can.
Right. Yes. So it's enforcing that he's going to pay that. Right.
So then I'd rather have that than focusing on the deterrent thing, because then it at least keeps it confined to the definition of it. Yeah. I mean, but these will act as deterrents because no one wants to be put under ostracism. Right. I was going to say though that he gives a bunch of cases here. I'm kind of assuming that this is just my assumption. I mean, I feel like Jews sell land to non-Jews, right? That's true, right?
Why not?
Like nowadays, like
outside of Israel or
outside of Israel, yeah.
Is there prohibition?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't say in Israel, right?
I guess it was.
It's funny he doesn't mention that though, right?
Because I mean, in general, that's a whole.
In Israel, it's a thing I know, but yeah. But then in Israel, you got that weird thing about no one owns the land anyway, right?
It's 99 years, and then you gotta it's like a lease.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You can own the property on it, but not the.
9, Hameid al Yisrael ba'arkal shel goyim, one who testifies about a Jew in the courts of goyim, and extracts money from him with his testimony, not in accordance with Jewish law. Menadin oso ad shishalom, and we put him in nidui until he pays. Right? Yeah, this is another thing that happens a lot, I'm sure, nowadays, taking people to non-Jewish courts. 10, tabach kohen. That's an interesting one. A Kohen who's a butcher who does not separate the gift portions to give to another Kohen. We put him in nidui until he gives. A lot of this feels like such a random list, doesn't it? Yeah. Hamachalo Yom Tov Sheni Shel Galios Alpha Pi Shuhu Minhag. Wow. Okay, so if you desecrate the second day of Yom Tov in Galus, even though it's just a minhag. So this is the quintessential minhag in the Rambam. Let's look at this. Is an important thing to look at. Kiddush Chodesh 5:5. Kiddush Chodesh. We all know the Kiddush Chodesh jingle. Kiddush Chodesh 5:5. Okay. Lefikach kol makom shelo hayu shluchei tishrei magiin elav kishayu hashluchin yotin. So therefore, any place that the shluchim of Tishrei that they don't reach after they go out, Ya'asu Shnei Yamim, they make 2 days of Yom Tov. Even nowadays, even nowadays, we do this just like the we do it now just like the Bnei. I'm not getting this. Just like they did at the time when the Bnei Eretz Yisrael established the month based on the sighting of the new moon. Ubnei Eretz Yisrael b'zman hazeh osin Yom Tov Yom Echad Minhagan. So nowadays the people in Eretz Yisrael do one day of Yom Tov like their minhag. They never did two minhagim. Yom Tov Sheni Anu Osim Bagalius Midivrei Sofrim Shetiknu Davar Zeh. Okay, so the turns out the Yom Tov Sheni that we do in Galus B'nazeh is Midirabanan, who enacted this. Okay, but he calls it a minhag though. This is what I'm trying to get to, because hold on, let me just see where he says it. Because he holds this is this is one of these cases which it was in halacha before. So nowadays when we don't have Sanhedrin and the Beis Din in Eretz Yisrael makes the new month based on the calculations. Now, so by law, every place should just do one day of Yom Tov because we know when the Yom Tov is. So everyone should do like the people in Israel. We're all relying on the same count. But it is a takana of chachamim that they keep the minhag of their fathers in their hands. So in other words, this is one of these cases of a minhag that was ratified by the Sanhedrin. So it's not the way that we use the word minhag loosely, of like, it's your minhag. It does have the force of a derabanan, but it's the Rabbanan were enforcing the minhag. Yeah, Chizkiah?
So I haven't thought about this before, but since now we do know the day,
Mm-hmm.
and so we know which one's the real day and which is the second day. If like you do end up like video of it, I guess, breaking like doing some malacha or something on the second day.
Yeah.
Would we say, all right, fine, like video of it, it's not at the derisa level since we do know it's the second day. You broke a Rabbanan since it's a minhag to do it, but it's still less than like the
it's a derabanan, and you would get nidui for it. Or we could put you in nidui. Yeah. If it is a derabanan, then why do you need to enforce it with nidui? See,
what?
I mean, why wouldn't we go worse to enforce it? Like more harsher, of like Makas Maradus. Yeah. It's a good question. Does the Rambam Bekius say Yom Tov B'Galus Nimshach Yomayim? It's kind of coming here. She's no. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, see, this is a puzzle that we got to crack here. Like, what's with all these things? Let's do one more because that's halfway through, and then we'll stop for today. Okay, do malacha on Pesach achar chatzos. Okay, there we go. All right, so we'll have to finish the list on Monday. Okay. Weird stuff.